The American people deserve to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as it relates to this whole sordid Jeffrey Epstein matter. Democrats didn't put the Jeffrey Epstein thing into the public domain. This was a conspiracy that Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and these MAGA extremists have been fanning the flames of for the last several years. And now the chickens are coming home to roost.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries there, weighing in on the Jeffrey Epstein saga that continues to be a major focus for the president's MAGA base. The question is, will prominent right-wing voices fall in line with Trump's call to just move on? Meanwhile, President Trump is taking a tougher stance with Russia, threatening sanctions and promising critical military aid for Ukraine. The question is, what's behind this major reversal? And more importantly, how long will it last? Plus, former President Obama is calling out Democrats, telling them to toughen up on the Trump administration. The question is, what should the party actually do? It's way too early for this. Good morning and welcome to Way Too Early, the show that knows there is never a dull moment on the New York City subway. Man, look at that flooding. We're going to get the forecast in just a few minutes. For now, I'm Ali Vitale on this Tuesday, July 15th, and we'll start with the news. The Trump administration is trying to portray a united front as the president continues to face the threat of revolt from his MAGA base over the Jeffrey Epstein files. It comes after telling his supporters to not waste any more time or energy on the deceased convicted sex offender. The White House released this statement yesterday, declaring that the president's entire team would continue to work in, quote, lockstep. That entire team piece is important because it comes despite the reported feud involving Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino. What's more, Bongino was reportedly back at work yesterday, according to CNN, after he took Friday off and was rumored to have threatened to quit. CNN also reports Bongino's long-term future is still uncertain at this point. Additionally, President Trump told reporters on Sunday he spoke to Bongino earlier that morning and thought Bongino was, quote, in good shape in his current position. We'll see about that, but it comes as some high-profile Trump loyalists who voiced concerns over the lack of transparency regarding the Epstein files are now apparently heeding the president's orders and moving on. Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk, who voiced his concern over the Epstein files a mere 48 hours ago at the Student Action Summit in Florida, now says he's, quote, done with the matter.
Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands. I've said plenty this last weekend.
Make some noise if you care about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Raise your hand if it matters a lot to you. Raise your hand. So every hand of 7,000 people.
Everybody cares.
A lot. I said a lot. Every hand.
He did have a lot to say this weekend, but now he's trusting his friends in the government. Fox News host Laura Ingraham, who also raised questions about the Epstein investigation over the weekend, is now actually scolding other conservative influencers for still discussing it, as if she hadn't done so herself.
Now, as conservative influencers were eating their own about Epstein, the president was stealing the show on the one-year anniversary of the day he almost lost his life. He made a triumphant appearance at a global sporting event. Meanwhile, Democrats keep shooting in their own goal, stumbling from one embarrassment to the next.
How many of you are satisfied? You can clap. Satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation? Clap. Okay, I told you to clap. You guys aren't listening. I'm not going to grade you on a curve. So I was going to get to that. How many of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation?
Things change quick. And despite several Trump loyalists now changing their tune and falling in line, there are still some defectors that remain, at least for now. Among them, Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, who criticized the Trump administration's handling of this case and told the New York Times, quote, it's definitely a full reversal on what was all said beforehand, and people are just not willing to accept it. Right-wing influencer Nick Fuentes went so far as to say MAGA is dead in response to President Trump's posts, blaming Democrats for fabricating the Epstein files. Fuentes wrote on social media, quote, "So now Trump is claiming the Epstein files are a Democrat hoax? LOL." And then there's Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, who said this to NBC News yesterday.
Mr. Epstein was a sex trafficker. He was a sex trafficker of young women, some of whom were minors. I think it's reasonable for the American people to ask who he sex trafficked these young women to, if anybody, besides himself. And if there were others involved, why they haven't been prosecuted. That's a perfectly understandable question. And I think the Justice Department is going to have to answer it.
Overnight, House Republicans voted against a Democrat-backed amendment that would force the Justice Department to release the Epstein files in full. The House Rules Committee voted against attaching that amendment to a cryptocurrency bill. Congressman Ralph Norman of South Carolina was actually the only Republican on that committee who actually voted in favor of it. The measure would have forced U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi to publish all documents related to Epstein on a publicly accessible website within 30 days of it being enacted. Democrats say they expected the amendment to fail, but they plan to take advantage of Trump's turn to releasing the documents by driving a wedge between him and his base. They're going to keep introducing that amendment or that bill, at least according to Ro Khanna, who's pushing it.